everybody, it's Mel here from Success on Purpose with my weekly Facebook Live at 4 o'clock. It's the long weekend, so hopefully you're all looking forward to a nice quiet or busy weekend. The topic for today is dying to live. And this is a topic that I'm very passionate about, having been a palliative care nurse. I've seen so much beauty in dying, and in that process I realised that there's always a part of myself that needs to die, and that we're always going through a process of birth, life and death. And I'll start with a little story because death has become so normal to me in my life. And also for me personally, I'm always growing, I'm always working on myself, I'm always moving through my fears. And when you do that, a part of you has to die to give way for the rebirth, to the new way of being. I was with a friend recently and she was going through a really challenging time. And hey Liz, hello beautiful. And she was having a really tough trot, having quite a few challenges. She'd been doing a lot of inner work on herself this year. And she was feeling quite down and out. And I just said to her, I said, it's okay, you're dying. And she just started laughing. She burst out laughing. And she was in a very bad place. And I made her laugh. And she just started laughing. And she was laughing quite uncontrollably. And she said, I'm dying? She said, what do you mean? And I said, you've been going through a really challenging time. So you're releasing fears, you've been releasing limiting beliefs. So what happens is you go through a process called apoptosis. So it's a programmed cell death in our body when we release the old. Oh, hello gorgeous. Hello Shay. When we release the old, then our body goes through a process of death, of dying. So we feel like you can feel quite lifeless. You can feel like rubbish, really. You can have, quite a bit, not a lot of energy. You go through the grief process. So you have periods of feeling quite angry. You can feel depression. You have periods of anxiety, and then that takes you to eventual acceptance as you go through a cell death, as you go through a grief cycle. And it was so beautiful because then I saw her again a fortnight later, and she just shared with me how much a difference that had made for her. And so I really wanted to talk about this to everyone today, because when we want, especially if you're a really big grower, I call it. One of my top values is growth, so I'm growing a lot. And when I'm growing, then I always need to be going through a process of death and of grieving and letting go of the old to make way for the new. And as I've been sharing with you all, I've been working through my fear of sharks for my triathlon, which is coming up next Sunday, the 18th of March, which is really exciting. And what I realised for me in working through this fear of sharks is that I've been going through a death. So because on the other side of that now is I wouldn't say I love sharks, but now I feel safe. I feel safe in the water. I feel safe swimming in the open sea. So for the last sort of few weeks, I've been feeling quite flat, a bit lifeless, thinking, oh gosh. And then I just remind myself, oh, that's right, I'm dying. So then I just allow myself to move through those emotions and just honour myself in whatever I've had to do. And it's been interesting the last few weeks, particularly the last 2 weeks, I've just felt like just going within and just hibernating and just spending a lot of time on my own. And just nurturing myself and just feeling emotions, moving through them, just honouring whatever I need to do for myself and nurturing myself. And as I've done that, then I go through that grief cycle, allow the cells in me to die, and the part of me that's been holding on to the fear, that has to die. And then on the other side of that is always love, because that's our natural state. because my natural state wasn't to be scared of sharks, but it's something I learnt, and it's a limiting belief that I took on as a 9-year-old. And as I've healed that using a lot of my tips and tools and my inner child work, and then plus also taking the action as well of joining swimming clubs and things, I've really moved through that fear. And as the cell death has happened, then the reprogramming, and then this week I've really come back to life. So I'm feeling really great again. And this journey will continue as I come to the next growth. So I've really given up that fear of, I suppose it was the fear of sharks, but also the belief system about myself that I didn't think that, I didn't know that I could do a triathlon. So now I know that anything is possible. So I've really given up that old belief, and now all of the persons, places, times, and events have just come to really help and support me, and I've had amazing support in the process. And the Williamstown Muscles group are just incredible. They're just so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for them. So now I'm really excited for the triathlon coming up next weekend, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm just going to have fun. So now I've got some beautiful people watching. Well, the question I put out there to you is, yes, Shay, yes, I resonate. I had been feeling the same. Realised today I've had a fear of thinking big. Oh, beautiful. How common is that? We play so small. I have been playing small, yeah. And because what we have is, oh my God, just don't. Because what we have is, I suppose, fear. I suppose the biggest thing that would come up when we start to think big is not believing in ourselves that anything is possible. And because our logical mind always goes back to the past. So when it's got no proof of that, it flicks it out. And that's when those belief systems start to come in, and we start to go, oh, well, I can't do that. But, and also rejection. We have fear of rejection, and who am I? Like, I would have thought, who am I to be doing Facebook Lives? But then I realised that I had a lot of stuff that I was sharing with my clients, and then why wouldn't I share that to more people out there? Jay Marios, what if your fear isn't something tangible like a shark? Okay, give me an example. Well, there's lots of, like, oh my God, I've worked through a whole lot of fears. I had a lot of fears of, I had a lot of confidence issues growing up. I had lots of social anxieties. I had lots of limiting beliefs around not feeling good enough, not feeling capable, not feeling deserving. I had a lot of fears around receiving as well. That was a really huge one for me. And one I'm always working on, because I grew up I was taught to be, such a giver, give. And that's how I was brought up, coming from the country. And it's really beautiful to give. And also being a nurse as well, is you give a lot. But in that process, my tank was empty a lot. And I was giving and giving, but I wasn't giving to myself. And then I started to get really depleted and flat and lifeless. And then through lots of breakdowns and eventual breaking my wrist, I realised that I couldn't keep going on the way I was. I had to start looking after myself and nurturing myself and loving myself. And then now one of my biggest belief systems about this business is be yourselfish with a capital S, and be more like yourself and fill yourself up and give out your overflow, because you're not much good. And people used to say to me, oh, Mel, you'd give the shirt off your back. And I used to think that was a great thing, but now I realise it's not, because I can't keep giving to people if I give my shirt off my back and I'm in Antarctica and then I freeze to death. Well, there we go. I can't help people anymore. So now I've learned to receive from self, so that I'm giving out my overflow, so that I don't become depleted, so then I can help more people. So that's a message I put out there to others a lot. And because we're taught to give, and to put ourselves last. And mothers in particular are really good at putting themselves last. Yes, letting down your guard for being giving, Mel. Yes. Well, now I'm all about equality, balance, equal giving and receiving, because that's where true power comes from. So tell me, Jay, what was your fear? Because that's what I want to ask you all today. Just to what do you want to give up? What did I write down? What do you want to die in you? That's so for me, my example is what I've really let die over the last couple of weeks around the fear of sharks is that I've let die that I'm not capable. I've realised now that I am capable of anything, and all you have to do is receive and ask support, and that's what I've been really, really good at in this process. And I wouldn't have been able to do it in the past because I had to be very vulnerable, and I've gone and I've had to just tell people my story, and I've rocked up to groups where I didn't know anyone, and a couple of times, and just said, hi, I'm Mel, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without all the networking that I've done for my business. And also I love being vulnerable now, and I just love being open, and I love growing, and in that process it's been amazing because I've received so much support, and now I was swimming I've joined a squad now as well on a Tuesday night, and I do swimming with all these amazing people, and we do all these different drills, and you end up doing like about 2Ks. And I was swimming along, and I just started laughing at myself because I'm like, have a look at you. How did you end up here? Like, it's amazing. Just swimming with all these amazing people. And so I feel very blessed. And another fear that I had was my fear of public speaking, and ended up being president of my business networking group a couple of years ago. And your fears are so beautiful because they just keep you so humble, because every time, like, I was to do for a whole year, I would chair this business meeting with amazing business people, and I just think, oh my God, look at me up here. And so every time I would walk up the stairs to go up there, I just pinch myself, and I just start laughing to myself. I'd be like, how the hell did you get here? But I really enjoyed it. So there's nothing like moving through your fears, because it makes you so proud of yourself, and you just get so excited, and then it allows you to move to what else is possible. And I've really started to learn to be a lot more comfortable in my uncomfortable, because there's so much growth there. Just letting down, my fear of thinking big, I think it is starting to die. Yes, go Shay, of course it is. And as we keep working together, that will just, you'll just start to get the next steps of that, and opportunities will start to come, and you actually realise that there is really nothing to fear at the end of the day. And it's just about taking one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Love that laugh. I want to laugh more in life. Yes, bring out that inner child. That's what it's all about. Shame, Jay, shame. Have to be vulnerable now to help my nephews through a possible diagnosis I have, and they will too, just trying to word how. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. This is my area as well. Oh, you've got same, not shame. Look, and Jay, the best thing is always just being truthful. Being honest, people feel that energy, and being vulnerable, and just opening up the conversation and say, hey. And what I always do is if I've got something a bit challenging to say, is I just say to people, hey, I'm feeling really uncomfortable right now. I have to have this conversation with you, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to say. Oh, hello, gorgeous. How are you? We're just talking about dying to live, and how a part of us must always die to allow the rebirth to happen, to allow the living again. Just answering a question here. Well, if you need any support around that, Jay, but just that's what I'm saying. Just be open and honest, and say, hey, I've got something here that's a bit challenging that I want to talk to you guys about. And the more vulnerable you are, the more you open up a safe space for them to be vulnerable, and just know that the support's always there, and together as a team, you can work through anything. Sending you lots of love and grace and power, and just know that it's okay to be. There's no right, and what I say to people, and for me as well, is don't script it. Don't work out the right thing to say, just just set up an appointment, a family meeting, and then just start having the chat and just allow it to come out from your heart. When it comes out from your head, that's when it gets really challenging and icky. But when you're speaking from the heart, you can't get it wrong. So yeah, just be vulnerable and just be yourself, and you'll do really well. So if you need anything. Okay, can someone please post something? What needs to die in you? What do you want to let go of? And so Shay shared her fear of... I can't see now. I'm on two things here. Fear of thinking big. So you can replace that with it is safe. It is safe to think big. And what's the worst thing that can happen for me now? Okay, it's a big one. Addiction. Oh, we've all got our addictions, Darren. Don't worry about that. And we do, because fear is actually an addiction as well. So all the fears that we have, because we're actually more addicted to fear, our body gets a massive chemical stimulus and a chemical charge of it, than we are actually to love. So as we strip back one fear, another one comes. So it's not, and I explain this to people a lot, it's not actually we're not addicted to anything. We're not, in terms of alcohol or chocolate or what else? Drugs. What we're addicted to is at the subconscious level, our brain secretes emotions into our body, which are lower vibrating emotions called shame and guilt, and our body gets a massive chemical charge off that. So then every time we go and have more alcohol or drugs or sex or I don't know, chocolate, whatever, overeat, we feel bad about ourselves, and then we secrete more shame and guilt. So we go round and round and round that cycle. So the best way to get over addictions, I mean, it does depend what ones, but I say to a lot of my clients, do it well and enjoy it. Because when you start to shift that perception, then it actually starts to take away the guilt and the shame around it. So then you actually start making different choices. So I can be addicted to fear. Yeah, we are. I was absolutely addicted to fear. I loved it. And that's what my biggest one was around the public speaking and social anxiety and social phobias, and it was so subconscious, and it would just happen, and I could just walk somewhere and there'd be a big group of people and my body would just go with it. It was just so subconscious. But over time and learning how to release the fear and working on my limiting beliefs and accessing that inner child, it really changed, because at our truest being, we're just love and we don't feel fear at all. But fear is definitely something what we learn, and we can and now I'm learning to love my fears, and yeah, it's really fun. Anyone else? Fear keeps us safe in our comfort zone. Yeah, it does. And what I've realised is you're only ever ready to give up a fear when you're ready to give up that fear. It's at that perfect time. I always wanted to do public speaking and go to Toastmasters, because my dad went to Toastmasters and I know he got a lot out of it. And I'd heard about it for years and years and years. It took me probably 3 years to walk in the door, because I had so many perceptions about it. I'd created some story in my head. I was like, I can't go in there because there'll be people. I had this belief system that everyone would be in there in suits, and who was little me going to walk in there, and I just felt, and then nothing like that whatsoever. They were people of all different walks of life that have been through what you've been through, because that's why they're there, and they're totally there to support you. And it was the most amazing experience ever. So I think our biggest fear is, it's the perceptions that we create in our heads, in our minds, and, and so now I've just learnt to just go into places. I don't think about stuff anymore. I just go in and have a go, and then I can enjoy it so much more, because I don't have to work through these perceptions that I've created in my mind. But we don't grow, we stay the same. Love the fear, I say. Yeah, love this. Now, what did someone say to me recently? And they say to their child, be scared and do it. I can't remember, but it's beautiful anyway. And it's around that it's okay to be safe. So it's okay to be scared and just do it anyway. And that's what I think we probably got out there in society, is that people don't talk about, how they're feeling enough, and I probably can put on a bravado, and I used to think, God, people are just so amazing. They've got it all, so together. And then in time you find out, oh no, they haven't. Well, that's all of us, isn't it? We're all perfectly imperfect. So I think the more that we share that, then the more we allow other people to let down their guards as well, so that we can all, just live life and support each other. How do you know when you are ready to give something that's negative? Well, there's two reasons. You've had enough pain. That's when I move. I have a lot in the past. Or the second one is you're ready for more pleasure. Because if you feel like that it's a real anchor and it's not allowing you to go to that next level where you really want to go to, then you know that you're ready. And also when you make the decision, give something up. I mean, can you give me more specificity? Is that the word? Specific about what you want to give up? I'm not into giving up things. I'm into loving them and moving through them and actually giving yourself choices. I work a lot with my subconscious mind. I'm always growing, trying new things, and then the fears come up, and then I'll say to myself, okay, you don't have to do this. It's okay. You can do. I remember when I had to, a couple of years ago, when I was doing my first webinar, and I was so nervous, and all this stuff was coming up, and I was like, oh my God, I've got, I don't know how this is going to go. And then I just said to myself, okay, we don't have to do it. It's not the end of the world. What will happen? And then it was amazing. As soon as I gave my mind that choice, it was like, okay, well, I will do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Anyway, I'll talk to you, Darren, a bit. I'm excited, to see what this fear is, this addiction, because, there's probably something underlying it. But, I'm all about enjoy it. I've had clients on marijuana, cigarettes, eating, and we've done a lot of inner child work, but the way we've shifted a lot of things is I've said to them to keep doing it and actually enjoy it. And especially with foods, all sorts of things, because when you start to give your mind your brain choice, then it will start it opens up to a reality of making different choices. And then because it's, as I said earlier, it's a secretion of shame and the guilt. That is the biggest thing, and then our body keeps secreting more of that, and so then we keep up our addictions, and then it's just that revolving cycle. So when you can actually give yourself permission and go, okay, I'm going to do it. And that's why one of my philosophies is, a lot of it is do it and do it badly. Just have a go, don't try to be perfect. All right, now I'm just aware of the time. So I invite you to think of something that you want to die within you and what you want to replace that with. So mine was sort of a lot of the I can'ts around the physical exercise and all that sort of stuff, and I've really replaced that with possible, impossible. Anything is possible now. And just, excited for what new things might come up. And then the third thing is I like to do every Friday is just get you to have a look at something you've done really well this week, because I know our mind's really good at looking at what we haven't done, what we should have done, all that sort of stuff. But just honouring the magnificence in you, something you did really well this week. Something I've been working on a lot is simplicity. It's just making my life as simple as possible, living in the now, getting out of this busyness cycle. The last few weeks I found myself back in busy, and I can't stand that energy anymore. I feel it so much, and so I've really been just tapering things back and slowing down. And it's amazing how then you start to do what needs to get done, not what you want to get done, and then you're actually saving time, because you realise that you go around this little treadmill thinking you've got to do so much stuff, but a lot of it's unimportant and sometimes needs to be done later on because something else has to fall into place. And I just feel that, it's a beautiful space where so much flow can happen. So the magnificence in me, I always go first, be vulnerable, is, me simplifying life. I've made a lot of changes in my life, and just, simplified a few things, and really feeling so much lighter, so much freer, so much happier, and just really honouring myself this week. And it feels great. I'm really excited for the weekend. Does anyone want to add anything before I sign off? I'll have a chat with you, Darren. I'm excited, look forward to it. And Shay, just don't be scared to think big. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Shoot for the stars, and what if you hit the moon? Like, wow, isn't that fantastic? Anyway, and what I always do is I'll look for proof in my past of where I've done well and where things have really worked out. And then from that place, I know that, anything is possible, and everything works out the way it's meant to anyway. And when we're in control and in ego, well, quite often things don't work out. But as you allow things to unfold, then it comes quite effortless. So I would say, Shay, just take the pressure off yourself. Just have fun, just get that inner child out, and just live in the now, and just know that everything is coming in divine timing, the way it should, so that you can get the most out of it and enjoy it, and move away from those belief systems about, life has to be hard, the hard slog, the doing. So look after yourself. Love that, Mel. Looking more at what I have done well. Yeah, awesome. And I know lots of your story, and I know how much you've done and how much you've come through, and how you're such an inspiration for women. So honour that, honour what you've been through, and the skills that you've learnt from that, the resilience, how strong you are. Oh my goodness, you can get through anything now. So just remind yourself of that, and just give your mind a break. It goes into makes up so many stories about should, where we should be. Well, we're always perfectly where we need to be. So that's great. Yes, nice one. Wow. All right, beautifuls, have a great weekend. And if you've got any questions, let me know. Also, if you need any support, Jay, just sing out. That's sounds like it's very much in my area as well, having a medical background and doing a lot of work with people having difficult conversations. Just sing out. All right, thanks to everyone. This is fantastic. I hope you've gained a bit of value, and I suppose the real point that I wanted to get across, that I shared earlier about my friend, when I said to her, "Oh, you're dying," and she just had a big giggle when she was feeling so crap, is just to allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling and honour that, because the sooner you allow those emotions to go through, the better you feel, rather than resisting it. We push through, oh, I used to be the best at it. Oh, I should be full of energy. I should be doing this. But now I've learnt to just surrender and, okay, what do I need to do right now? I just need to take it easy for a while. Let my body heal. Let the apoptosis, the cell growth, the cell repair take place, so that then feel full of life again. So just look after yourselves, honour yourselves. Thanks, gorgeous Mel. You're beautiful. Mwah, you're beautiful, gorgeous. So have a great weekend, and nurture yourselves and enjoy. Get that inner child out, and look forward to chatting next Friday. Mwah, much love. Bye.